Chris here. Well, thank you for coming by. Another great tutorial here we're doing a flower painting. Yes, we're doing beautiful peach roses here. So let's have fun. The key to this video and this tutorial is we're going to learn about how you can get started with a good solid drawing with pencil. We have a pencil drawing. We're going to cover how you're going to do your pencil drawing first, working from a photograph on our phone. So I'm going to have my phone on the screen at all times so you can kind of see what we're working from. Once you get your pencil drawing done, then we're just going to continue with the same method and process that we've been working with for probably years and years now on my YouTube videos. Mix all our paints at one time in the beginning to start with. Get all your colors in your palette first. Then you don't have to worry about mixing anymore. You have it all in your palette to start with. Then when you go in and you start working on your painting, you're just going back into your palette and using the colors you've already pre-mixed 100% to start with. And maybe if you need to mix a little bit toward the end of your painting, that's fine. You can do that, but you won't be distracted by mixing and trying to paint and mixing and trying to paint and mixing. That can really, really throw off your rhythm with your painting. So you want to get into a rhythm with your painting, get into it, you start painting, and you just continue with a rhythm, a flow to your painting. Have your colors mixed already, pre-mixed in your palette. We'll cover all the details here on this video. So sit tight, buckle in, buckle up, have a fun time. Grab a beverage, have a nice little drink of water with you, a nice tea, a coffee, tea, whatever you like to drink. Have your stuff all set up with you as you work along with me. And this way we can get through this whole video within an hour and you'll be done. You'll have a great, beautiful painting at the finish, okay? All right, let's get started in just a second. All right, we just saw the finished painting. We are going to actually just recreate the whole process from start to finish. You're going to learn all the methods, all the techniques, all the steps you're going to need to create this wonderful, beautiful peach rose floral arrangement. Let's get started. Right away we can see in this picture that we have peach colored roses, we have some baby breath, we have some green ferns underneath, and a vase. We can actually enhance this, make this a little more exciting maybe. I think I'm going to actually possibly make this vase maybe clear, and I might actually diminish a little bit of the greens and the baby breath so that there's more peach roses for the focal point. This green and the green ferns and the baby breath kind of take over a little bit too much here. I'm not happy with that, with this arrangement. So that's where, as an artist, you're the artist, you have to actually look at a photograph that you're going to paint from. So you can go online and you can choose from literally millions of pictures out there online. Pick your favorite few pictures or so and then say, how am I going to enhance it? And this is how I'm going to enhance this. I'm going to actually diminish a little bit of the ferns and the baby breath and make the these peach colored roses a little more the focal point of the painting, and then diminish the greens a little bit and the baby breath. And we'll have maybe a clear vase. I'm going to make maybe a clear glass vase here. I might even just not even have the vase in there. I might just make it the roses with a little bit of the green ferns and baby breath. I think that's what I'm going to do. So as an artist, you're the artist. You have to kind of think about what your photograph might be, or if you're sitting in front of a still life and you purchased a nice, beautiful bouquet of flowers and you're going to paint them, or maybe you're outdoors and you're going to paint some flowers you see in the backyard, or maybe at a park, whatever it is. Always try to remember that you're in control. You're the artist. You're in control. You can change what you're seeing and cater it to what you want your final painting to be. So that's where I'm saying I love these peach roses, but I'm not so keen on all this baby breath and green ferns in there. Kind of to me, it diminishes the beauty of the roses. So let me change it a little bit. You do the same thing. In your world, you're the artist. You have to change things to make it pleasing for yourself, where you look at it in your own eyes. Through your own eyes, you look at your subject matter and you say, what do I think I might be able to change to make this look more pleasing, more pleasant, more positive looking? And that's how I see it. I see it that I can maybe diminish a little bit of the greens and the white baby breath. Maybe even not worry about the vase so much and just maybe section it off a little more, make it more of a painting with the roses and some greens and some baby breath, but not as much as we're seeing here. So let's try it out. Let's see how I do. You'll at home, you'll in your studio, in your kitchen, your bedroom, your sitting room, your TV room, wherever you're working, you'll judge me and say, Chris, how did he do on this painting? From this photograph to his painting. So let's try it out. We're going to have a fun process here. Let's see how I do. I'm going to put my phone over here. I'm working from my phone, obviously. But you've already seen the finished painting, so you're saying, ha, ha, ha. I've seen the painting, so I already know how Chris did. But let's see how I do in real time right now. Okay, so let's see here. We have this whole beautiful rectangle here. Okay, I have my rectangle. That's set. Now I'm going to say, all right, here we have these roses. They look beautiful. Let's do a preliminary sketch and say, let's have the roses about here. And then maybe some ferns over here. So already you can see I'm sort of getting my preliminary sketch in, and that's all I did. Just kind of, there we go. Okay. Preliminary sketch. Let me do that. Okay, so you're seeing I'm just kind of moving around the picture. There we have it. I did a preliminary sketch. You probably can't see it. That's okay. I'm going to do a contour drawing now. The reason we do a preliminary sketch is very simple. You want to sort of get your overall layout of where you're going to have all your flowers and your vase and your greens and some baby breath. You want to get that sort of laid out on your paper so you kind of know where it's going to be in your picture frame, in your rectangle like this. And I just did an outline here like so. And then maybe a little bit of vase over here. And that's good. Now let's start our contour drawing. I'll start here. And I might do more of a silhouette you might see here. Okay, and then over here there's some baby breath. Okay, now over here. I'm just doing the outlines of the flowers. I'm trying to get more of a silhouette, as you can see. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting a silhouette of these roses, these beautiful peach color roses. They look absolutely beautiful. And peach is always a beautiful kind of color. It's kind of a warm, pleasant, pleasing color for your roses here. So if you're doing roses, consider peach roses. They look absolutely beautiful. And then I'm just going to like that. Then over here, this one is baby breath over here. Ah, there's a beautiful fern here. Baby breath over here. I'll do this tapping for the baby breath, so I know that's where I have to kind of leave some loose splashing maybe. I'm going to do a splashing technique for the baby breath. That's what we want to do, a splashing technique for that. Over here too, the same thing. So wherever I tap in some pencil taps here with the point of my pencil, that's going to be my baby breath areas where I'll do that baby breath. Splashing with the paintbrush. We'll cover that in just a minute or two. Once we get started with our painting, I'll show you all the details of how to splash as we go to get your beautiful loose looking baby breath. Here we have another beautiful peach colored rose, and then over here some more baby breath here. I tap on the paper just so I look at the photograph and say, okay, there's baby breath over here, and then there's some more ferns over here. So I do some ferns here. And I just do some indications of some ferns, but I'm not going to make as many as we see here. I'm going to try to lighten up on those a little bit if I can. We'll see how I do here. You know, we can always make the vase a little bit bigger so that we don't do as much green ferns as we see here. Now, the person that created this beautiful arrangement of peach roses had good intentions. They wanted to make a beautiful bouquet here, but as an artist, you have to think, well, how is it going to look more beautiful? How can I make this look more beautiful? And then when you look at it, you might say, well, I have a little more insight and expertise in my artistic thoughts to make this look more interesting, and I'm going to diminish the amount of greens that I see here. The greens might have taken over on this bouquet here, this person created. Not to take away from what they did here. They did a nice job. It's a good looking bouquet, but maybe they had too many greens and they didn't maybe add enough roses to this. That's what I'm thinking. So don't worry about it. You can adjust as you go and recreate things. So that's what I did here. I just being humble about it. I'm not saying I'm the greatest floral arranger in the world, but I am saying that you can adjust your paintings to make them look more pleasing, positive, pleasant looking, and you don't have to worry about it. You just do it. Go for it. And I think that's about it. And then here we have some more baby breath over here, which is fine, but not as quite as much as we might think we're looking at over here. And I will take some time to do these ferns, these leaf forms, so you can kind of see how I'm trying to do the leaf forms too. Like I'm trying to get these ferns in like that. And then over here we have some more. So I'm not totally diminishing them completely, but I want to keep them a little more minimalized, if that's a word. There we go, and some more darks here. And then you just remember, as you're going through your drawing here, just try to think of it as when you're painting this, you're going to want to leave lights showing through the bouquet of flowers. You don't want to make this all one solid block. Here you can kind of see it's all solid through here. Can you see that? It's more like solid dark colors. Let's leave more light showing through. So remember that when you when you're creating this painting, try to leave some lights, some white paper showing through as you create the painting portion. We're obviously now working on the drawing, but once you start creating the painting, you'll want to think about that you want to make a little bit less darks in there, and you want to keep some light paper showing through. And I think that's good. Okay, we have the drawing done. This is the contour drawing. I hope you'll be able to see this at home. If you want, I can zoom in a little bit. Maybe you can pause on this right now, pause your video, and maybe draw from this if you want to. Or you can wait till the end of the video when I'm completely finished, or the beginning of the video when I show the painting at its complete form. You can draw from that too. But let's leave it here. Let's take a break. I always like to say, let's take a break. You've just worked and you've done a fine job. I can tell. I'm thinking to myself at home, at your kitchen, your living room, your bedroom, your sitting room, your TV room, wherever you're working, I can just sense it that you've done a good job. You've gotten these beautiful roses, these peach color roses drawn in halfway decent, and you've tapped on your paper to remember you want to have baby breath in there, so that's going to be where we splash. So wherever you see these dots on the paper, that's your splashing technique, and we'll cover that again in the video. I'm going to cover everything step by step here. You don't have to worry. I'm going to cover all of this in just a second. We'll start painting. But I think you've gotten a good rendition of this drawing now with your pencil, and I think we're ready to start painting in just a second. So I want you to take a break, though. Please take a break. When you're done drawing this type of pencil drawing here, you've worked really hard at getting these roses in just right. The vase, the baby breath, the greens, the ferns, some of the stems, things like this. You want to take a break now. And you might want to break this up into two. You might want to do a few roses, 2 or 3 roses, take a break, then come back, finish up two or three more roses in this bouquet, then take another break, and then you're ready to come back and paint. I've been doing this 15 years, and I've been practicing a whole lot. I practice all the time, pretty much. I take breaks, sometimes a month or two. I just forget about everything and just maybe do my YouTube videos, and that's it. But I'm always back, though, after I take a break for maybe a week or 2 or a month, whatever it is. I'm always back really intensely drawing and painting all the time. So that's why I can maybe do this drawing quickly and get this done a lot quicker than you might be able to do it. But if you're just, starting out, or if you have some couple years under your belt, remember, breaks will help you to re-energize, relax, and come back in and be more focused on your drawing. So don't be ashamed if you have to take a few breaks doing this drawing. I did it a little bit quicker. Obviously, I've been painting a long time and drawing, for many years. Try to take breaks if you can, but if you don't need breaks, don't worry about it. I don't want to be a hindrance to your progress here. I'm just saying, if you might think you need a break, take a couple breaks, and now we're ready to pretty much go in and paint. So right when we come back, we'll get in and we'll start painting, and you'll see it's a beautiful way we're going to paint this alla prima. We're going to use the alla prima method. We'll just start painting in the darks and the roses at the same time, and we'll just work through this pretty quickly. We're not going to take hours and hours to do this. This is going to be like maybe another half an hour to 45 minutes, so strap yourselves in, buckle up. You're going to have a fun time here. And remember, you're doing a good job. It's all about practice, and everyone's at a different place. Some of you are just starting out. You might have some problems with this, but just keep working on it. Work the whole painting through and finish it up, and then that's it. Don't start out, make a mistake, and think, oh, it's a waste. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Always remember, doing your paint, when we're working on these videos, these tutorials, start it out, get it going, work on it, take breaks. If something goes wrong, let it just sit, let it be as it is, and just keep working through the whole painting. And then at the end, you can step back and look at it once it's 100% complete and go, oh yeah, these 2 flowers turned out great. These 2 didn't turn out too good. The ferns over here look good. These ones over here didn't look so great. but at least you finished the whole thing. And again, this is all just about practice. We're just practicing here. We're continually practicing all the time. That's all it is. Practicing your compositions, your paintings. We'll get it done, and you'll get better every time if you just stick with it, keep working on it. And again, don't abandon your painting. Stick with it. Work it all the way through to the final completion, and then you can look at it and go, this one, I'm going to just toss it, or this one, I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to put it in a folder. I learned a lot of good things. More often than not, you'll save all your paintings, put them in a folder, please, because they're all good. You're going to learn little tidbits of information as you paint and draw. So that's what I want to keep focusing on, is there's always going to be good things that happen within your painting. There might be some disasters that happen here and there, but that's okay. Just keep working on it. And, if you have a few disasters within this painting, that's okay. But if you have a couple good spots here and there that turn out good, well, then that's great. Save the painting, put it in a folder, and then next week you're going to be starting again, and we'll create another painting. And you just keep working and working and working, and don't worry about things that go wrong. Things will go wrong, especially in the beginning. And even when you're painting 10 years and you think you're doing a great job, you're still going to have problems with watercolor. Watercolor is a tough medium. Always remember that. If you're a watercolor artist here, you're on my channel, you're always following me, you always know watercolor is difficult. It's a difficult medium. Anyone will tell you that paints watercolor. It's not easy. Don't worry about that. Just keep working at it. That's all. You keep working at it. If you have a couple bad paintings here and there, probably you're going to have, like everybody else, we all have problem spots within a painting that happen. But the most part is you just keep working on it, having fun. Have fun with your paintings. Don't worry about it. Don't take it too seriously, okay? And we're going to come right back and start painting, okay? And again, happy painting, enjoy, and we'll start up in just a second with the painting portion, okay? All right, we are back, and we're going to start painting this. And always remember, when we start our painting process here, just let the process happen. Don't get too worried about things. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to use a Raphael number 6 round watercolor brush. I think I'll use this the whole way through. I'm going to get some fresh, clean water in my water container. Fresh, clean water. We're starting out. And then the first thing I think of is, hey, Chris, I'm talking to myself now. Chris, what do you think? How am I going to make these beautiful peach color roses here? How am I going to do that? Well, let me look right at this painting and say, okay, I'm looking at the roses here. Well, the first thing is, let me make sure I create the light source. We always want to remember that when we're doing a painting, let's create our light source. And right here, I'm just going to put a light. It's like a spotlight, like this. Always create your spotlight, which represents either sunlight or maybe like a lamp you might have. You might have a lamp in your studio that you use to light up stuff or whatever. But there you go. I put it up here, and I zoomed down here a little bit. I apologize. I was zoomed in too far here. There we go. So I put my light insignia up here, which is like basically a spotlight with some light insignia here, and that's the light coming across this way. So that's the first thing we want to do. So when we start painting, we don't get kind of confused on where the light's coming from. We know we're going to keep the shadows on the left and the light on the right, kind of like this photograph here. So I'm going to use this constantly. Whenever I'm painting, I'm just going to keep looking back and forth. As I'm painting, I'm referring back all the way through the whole entire painting. I'm always focusing on this photograph here on my telephone. Constantly back and forth. Where's the light? Oh, look at that bright light right there. Well, that I know is going to be right over here. That's going to be some bright light there and some bright light over here, up here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this photograph as our basically template of what we're going to do here with our paint. So let's get our fresh, clean water. Let's say, okay, the next thing is, well, let's mix up our paints. We want to get ahead of things. We don't want to, we'd rather mix some paints first, get some colors out on our palette that we're going to use for this painting, and then we start painting versus trying to mix and go and mix and go. And next thing you know, we're over here focusing on mixing colors, and this is drying over here. you'd rather have your colors mixed first, and then as you paint, you can go quicker and faster through your painting because you have the colors mixed already first. That's the key. Get your enough paints in here mixed. You don't want to mix a tiny bit of paint that's only enough for one flower, one rose. You want to have enough so that you can basically paint the whole painting with what you have in your palette, or close to it. Let's see how we do here. Like, judge me on this. Watch me. Watch this video full through, maybe before you paint along with me. Maybe watch my whole video full through and judge me, look at me, criticize what I'm doing, look and say, is Chris doing what he's actually saying he's doing? And then you'll see if I'm actually following my own plan here that I'm setting up for you to do. So if you watch me full through the first time, then you can come back and create the painting your second time looking at the video and working along with me, if that makes sense. I'm hoping you'll do that, because if you watch it full through the first time, you'll pick up things that you might not pick up if you're already painting along with me. Does that make sense? So I suggest, please watch my videos full through first and see what I'm doing and see if I'm following actually what I'm saying I'm doing. And then if you agree with it and say, yeah, Chris is doing what he's saying he's doing, does that make sense? Then you'll know, okay, yeah, he is actually. So you'll follow along with me intellectually, and in your brain you're going to think, wow, yeah, Chris is doing exactly what he said as you watch me do this. Then the second time you might watch the video through and you might work along with me and hit pause, work a little bit, follow me, hit pause on your video. But in the end, I'm not telling you what to do. Do it the way you feel comfortable with, the way you want to create your paintings along with me. Or, you might watch it one time full through and then just shut it off and then try it on your own. However you like to do your artwork, that's fine by me. You're smarter than I can imagine. I'm just saying it might be best if you do watch it one time through and see what I'm doing and kind of critique me a little bit and say, is he really doing what he's saying he's doing? Or, so it'll help you intellectually to think the process through as I do it. So I'm saying here, mix your colors first, and then we got to think, well, how are we going to, what peach color? What's a peach color? Well, red, we definitely know we're going to need red for peach. Cadmium red, right? That looks good. Well, what else color do we need for peach? I would say a little bit of orange. Okay, what else? What might we need for a peach color? Like some alizarin crimson, some darker reds you can see in there, some darker reds, some more exciting, vibrant reds, alizarin crimson. Okay, so you can kind of see here, I'm already, wow, look at that. I'm putting in some beautiful dark alizarin crimson here, orange, cadmium red here for that peach color. And there's also some, let's go with some, this is raw sienna. Raw sienna, which is a transparent gold. It's like yellow ochre, but yellow ochre is a little more opaque. Let's use this raw sienna as more of a, so look at that. I have tons of color out on this palette. And then I have to say to myself, well, let me make sure I start mixing some greens, because you do see there's a lot of greens in here, right? Greens and blues, like those dark greenish blues, and then the light greens. That's where I might have gotten a little bit overexcited about my raw sienna. Let me diminish my raw sienna on this side of the palette and let me get some greens in there. So now we're going to go sap green. Lots of sap green up here. French ultramarine blue to get a little darker green here. So I'm going to do sap green, French ultramarine blue mixed in with that green. So I'm using this as my mixing, of course, my palette. I'm mixing all my colors first. Then I'm going to go with some cadmium lemon yellow and mix a little bit of that green in there too. Take some of that green down into the cadmium lemon yellow. And I think we have pretty much all of the colors we need for this painting. Okay, So you're going to, at home, you're going to say, how is Chris doing? He said he needs to mix all the colors first on his palette and plenty of it so that he doesn't have to stop in the middle of his painting and start mixing more colors. Let's see if I have enough here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some of the darks. To set the pace of this painting, I'm going to use darks first. Maybe I'll even add a little bit of burnt sienna in there. Burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue, sap green. Okay. Where do I see some super dark greens? There, there, there. All right, so I see some super dark, tonal value-wise, I see some super dark greens. So let me start to get those in there. Okay. And that's what I'm going to start doing is getting my darkest darks in there first. That sets the pace for my painting. If I get those darks in first, and that's the key of alla prima painting. We're doing an alla prima painting here. If you can get your darks in first, here and there, you'll be able to judge your lighter washes easier because you're going to say, oh yeah, well that's super dark. I need to go light and really, medium tonal values, super light. Maybe some white of the paper I'm going to have to leave here and there. Well, if you do your darks first, you'll be able to kind of judge a little better what your lights are going to have to look like. So that's why I do my darks first. And I'm going to recall that I'm trying to make some leaf shapes like this. But don't get bogged down with too much detail, okay? Have fun with it. Just get some darks in there. As long as they have some shapes that look like what you're seeing over here, which is like those fern shapes, right? With the kind of the fern shapes like that. As long as you have a few of those, quite a few of those here and there, you are set. You don't have to worry about all the other details. Don't get bogged down in meaningless worries about what things look like. If you have a few good shapes of some ferns with some fern shapes here with the leaf forms like this, you are going to be okay. The rest you can just blot around and splash a little bit. Don't fuss over this. There, you see how I did that? Very quickly. Now that we have some darks in here, let's make sure we'll start going and doing some beautiful peach color shapes for our flowers, for the petals on the flowers, for these beautiful peach color roses. So let's look over here and say, okay, how do we have, let's try this one here first. So I'm working on this flower right here, this rose. I'm saying, okay, that looks like that there. And I'm going to leave some of that white paper up here on this side, like that. There we go. We're off and running. We have some and maybe you can see here too that I'm developing the shapes here with the colors. Okay, now you could take a tissue or some paper towel. I loaded on some alizarin crimson, then I dry off a little bit on the paper towel. And then I come up here and I try to do a little bit of the darker red shapes up here, like this here. Always remember, watercolor dries lighter. So when I put on a really exciting red like this here, it's going to dry lighter like this, like you see in the photograph, because it always dries lighter. Remember, your watercolor dries about half. Once you take your wash and you put your wash down onto your paper, it's going to dry about 50% lighter. So you actually have to go darker than you think. So whenever you're painting watercolors, remember, paint darker than you think it's going to look, because you know your paint is going to dry and it's going to be a lot lighter when it dries. Watercolor dries a lot lighter than when you're putting it down onto the actual watercolor paper. That's a big thing you can really learn about watercolor, is it really does dry a lot lighter. So don't sweat it. Just accept it. Okay, we've gotten this rose here. I think we look pretty good on that one. We can let this dry and we'll do some more details on this one maybe once it dries. But once you get a wash in on a rose here, like this beautiful peach color rose that we did up here, once you get the basic washes down on the here, like you see here in this, let it dry 100%. So just get the first wash down, let it dry, and move on to another one. And then later, 20 minutes later, you can go back and do a little touch-ups if you want. Because the key to watercolor is you have to get a wash down quick, let it dry. Even when you're doing alla prima painting like we're doing here, the key is let it dry. Get a wash on for your flowers like we're doing here. Okay, I'm looking carefully at this and saying, okay, what do we see here? Okay, some more red over here. So I infuse some darker tonal values along that edge, just like over here. Then over here there is some more peach color, like that. And then up here too, there's some wash, and then there's some white paper here. Let's leave this white paper right here. So wherever you see light, really bright lights, leave those white paper, please. Don't think you have to paint everything in. And then you can make some little swirling effects here where the flower is. I rinse off my brush, dry a little bit off on the paper towel, and then make a really light wash here, like that. If it's too dark, lift it up a little bit, like that. You can always go back once it dries. Good, done with this one. Let's move on to another one. Okay, I'm going to mix up a little bit of wash now, like that. Okay, here you see I'm working on this rose here. Okay. Problems, Houston, we have problems. All right, hold on. Once in a while, I grab a little bit of the carpet, that carpet stuff you can buy for underneath the carpets for like throw rugs. You have that little throw rug stuff that you buy in the hobby stores and you know, those big chain stores where they have, you put that on there first and then it won't slide. There we go. Okay, a little splash there. Okay. We'll come back to this one. This looks good. Let's do this one up here. This rose up here. Lots of white paper on this one, right? Up here, this rose. Now we're getting to the point where I'm actually, let's take a break in a few minutes. Maybe we'll finish up this rose right here and we'll take a break. But you can kind of see how I'm trying to leave white paper. And again, I keep looking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm just kind of constantly looking over here. How am I looking? Am I looking good? Am I getting the right colors and tonal values? And I think I am. For this rose up here, and we have lots of white paper along the right side of this rose up here, which is exactly what we're seeing. Can you see that while I'm doing this? I left a lot of white paper there. You can also blot up once in a while if you have to. But I think that looks good. Let's take a break right now. We've done a lot of work so far. So I always want to say, please take breaks. It's going to help you to kind of relax and not feel as stressed and fatigued as you go through your painting. So right now we're going to take a break. I'll let this dry for maybe 10-15 minutes. Let these roses here that we've already painted, let them dry a little more. But we'll continue over here on these roses, 1 and 2 over here. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got these 4 completed. We've made great progress. Have we not made good progress here? We've got these 4 roses completed. We have 2 left. By the time we come back and take a break for 10 or 15 minutes, these will dry quite a bit and kind of set up really nicely. We'll still, when we come back after 10 or 15 minutes, we'll start working on these. And by that time, these will be perfect. We can go back in after we do these 2 and go back into these and maybe touch up and, excuse me, do a little bit of darker tonal values. We can add in some of these green leafy forms that are underneath the roses, and we won't sort of cause problems with the washes, because if you have a damp wash like these are all damp right now. We really can't go in and do anything to where there's a damp wash like this, where these roses are damp right now. We can't go in and do these green leafy forms and ferns and leaf forms that are underneath the rose where the stem is. All these things here that you see, all these darks over here, all these darks, you can't do those when this is still damp or wet. You have to let them dry 100. These roses have to dry 100% complete first. Then you can go back in and do some of the darks around them. The darks over here on this fern, and then the dark leaf forms underneath the rose. Does that make sense? Things have to dry. You have to let things set up and dry. Probably not telling you anything you didn't know. If you've been working with me a while, you know that I always say, hey, let things dry. You have to let things dry. Use a blow dryer if you have to. If you're impatient and you want to keep working, do that too. Use a blow dryer if you have to. But I'm going to take a break for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and continue on. And you'll see that by the time we come back in a little while, 10, 15 minutes, we can work on these 2 roses over here. And then by that time, these are going to be dry pretty much. And then we can add in any details we want to around these, and we'll be fine. And then from there, it's pretty much a home run. We'll be able to finish up and get things completed here. So thanks again for watching and sticking with me here. Again, we're learning the process of beautiful alla prima flower painting. We're doing some beautiful peach-colored roses, which look phenomenal. and we'll have some beautiful light in the picture. We have the light coming from the right-hand side across the picture like this, so we have gorgeous light shining onto the flowers. We're going to have our vase. We'll finish that up too as well. So stick with me here, and I always mention if you want to subscribe on the right-hand side here on the bottom of the screen, there's the subscribe button. When you subscribe to my channel, basically all it is YouTube will let you see my next videos that are coming up in the future. They'll put them on your homepage so that when you open up YouTube the next time, you'll see my videos there, maybe one or two, probably just one, but at least you won't lose me. You know, so you might forget my name, Chris Petri. You might forget Chris Petri. You might say, oh, what was the name of the video? You might not remember the name of the video either. You might think, oh, roses or flowers. But if you subscribe, you won't lose track of my work and what we're doing here. And I want you to keep coming back and enjoying learning the watercolor process. It's really fun. It's really kind of just sticking with me every week, and you'll just learn everything as you go, just for the sake of repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. So if you want skills, you have to just keep repeating things over and over and over again. And when you do that, you'll have skill. If you don't want to repeat things over and over and over again, you probably won't build skills. That's basically how it works. So please subscribe. This way you can keep following me every week. Follow along with the videos you like to paint. You can go back in my archives. I probably have over 350 videos you can look up on YouTube. Type in Chris Petri flowers. You'll find probably 100 videos on flowers going back in my previous videos that I've already created. So always remember, you have tons of content here on my channel to work from. And if you like boats or seascapes or landscapes or cityscapes or figures or portraits, you just type in whatever you like to paint. Chris Petri portraits, Chris Petri figures, Chris Petri landscapes, so on and so forth. You'll find at least 10, 20 videos that I've already done. And then we're always just working forward. So you'll always have the videos that we're working on week by week as we go forward. So always remember, we're always working here. We're always doing new things. And as well, you always have archives in my YouTube channel you can go back to if you just type in my name and then type in whatever subject matter you might like. You might like flowers. Type in Chris Petri flowers. I guarantee you're going to find 10, 20, 30 videos on flowers. So never worry. You have tons of work to use as far as to build your skills and learn from. It's all here on YouTube. YouTube's a great, incredible medium, an incredible place to learn and grow and study watercolors. And there's also a lot of other great watercolor artists out there too that you can study with. And so you'll never have any lack of great information at your fingertips. Please use it and enjoy the journey of watercolor. It takes time. Don't get stressed. It takes 1, 2, 3 years possibly, depending on how much time you put into it, to get good at it. So if you're practicing all the time, you might take 1 or 2 years and you're really going to be really cooking and doing a great job. If you only practice once in a while and dabble once in a while, it's going to maybe take you, a little longer, maybe 3 or 4 years before you kind of really get up to speed. So just remember, the more you practice, the better you're going to get, no matter what level you start at. If you're drawing stick figures, don't worry. I started with stick figures too. And the more you practice, you'll get beyond stick figures and you'll start drawing some more interesting figures and things like that. So don't worry about it. Just have fun, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and we'll be right back. And enough talking. Let's get back and we'll continue painting in just a second. All right, we're getting back started again. We just had a fun time describing all the different things that you're going to learn with this video, the different colors you're going to mix first in your palette. I said, please critique me, look at my work and what I'm doing, and really think about what I'm saying and if I'm following my own, process that I'm explaining to you. Make sure I'm doing that. If I'm not following it, let me know in the comments section. Say, hey, Chris, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. Or, vice versa. Say, oh, good job, Chris. You stuck to your game plan. So, again, we mixed a lot of paint here, but I did run out of some cadmium red and raw sienna for that peachy, good-looking color. I think I'm going to add some cerulean blue there right away. Let me add some of that cerulean blue. that. I just wanted to add some cerulean blue in there. I want to make sure I get some of that cerulean blue in the picture. All right, so we're going to continue on here. We're going to do these 2 roses over here like we said. Let's pick up some I'm sticking with this shape right here. A little bit of that darker red here, like so. And some more of that peachy color over here, like that. And then we have another bit of color over here, like so. Okay, we're sticking to our game plan. We're over here now. This is pretty much all white paper over here on this side. Can you see that? There's that petal on this rose, this peach rose. Here you can see that petal is very light. It's white. I'm going to leave that white. Then there's a little bit of a, let's mix some more. Cadmium red, raw sienna. There's some more. Color there, which is in the shadow area where that leaf petal is, the petal of the flower. Like that. Looks good. Now we have a lot of the, well, we have these 2 roses completed now. Now we can start working. Let's go back in. We'll get our greens going again. Sap green, French ultramarine blue for some dark green, dark green. Where can we see some other dark greens? Over here. Like that. And again, we said we were going to kind of take it easy and not go too many darks with the leaf forms under here. So if a wash gets away from you and starts to infiltrate another area, take your tissue. There you go. Like that. Okay. There's some more dark here. Like that. And again, you want to have some darks, but not too many. Let's see here. Cadmium lemon yellow, sap green. We'll get some fresh greens in there, fresh green colors, right? And now you're seeing I'm just doing some real fun fern shapes here, like so. Maybe some French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, sap green, a couple of darks in there. And I'm just going to do a few more leaf forms on these. And you can see I'm trying to actually minimize this. I don't want to. I'm minimizing the amount of minimizing the amount of ferns that I'm doing here. You see how this is a little bit less than what's here? This is a lot more. Look how much here. See how that's like a really large area of darkness over here? I kind of left that a little lighter. I haven't done as much. There is some more darks up here, so I will put some more of that dark fern wash up here. Like that. There's some more of these, right? The underside of the flowers, like that. I might even break out my needlepoint brush. I think that's a good time for this right now to start to maybe do some more finer details. So I think we have this pretty much good. Let's get the vase in here. I'll use some of the cerulean blue. We'll use some more greens here. Let's do just a few more. Like that. Maybe a few more over here. And then we're just going to do the vase here. So the vase is a little darker over here. Like that. A little lighter over here. The light is coming from the right. And I think we have a really good looking painting here, and I'm going to splash for some baby breath with some cerulean blue. Okay, maybe a little bit of cerulean blue around this shape of the rose over here. Maybe a little more over here too. Try to maybe go around some of the areas that are very, very light. Like if you have a really bright light around some of these roses here, these peach roses, if you have a really bright light there, you can accentuate that light by actually adding a little bit of that cerulean blue around that bright light. And then you can just scrub it a little bit out, you know, kind of mellow it out, soften out the wash, like so. Like that. And I think we have a completed painting by this time. Maybe a little dark over here. Maybe a little bit of French ultramarine blue. Like this. Just to give it a dark over here. Kind of anchor this side of the vase over here. Maybe a little bit of red in there. Some orange. And then kind of mix that in. And then we can do a little more. Like so. Add in some more wash around this rose over here. Then we can also use our needlepoint brush. We could take our needlepoint brush and maybe mix some darker darks, French ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt sienna, sap green, like this. And then with our needlepoint brush, it's an incredibly fine point brush. We can do a little more we could add a few really fine lines that are really going to look great. So if we can kind of, you can see how, look how I'm getting these really fine, beautiful points here and there. And that really looks fantastic. It adds a whole nother dimension to your painting. Can you see how that really adds some beautiful fine lines? So I think that's just right. I think we have everything in. Notice I did leave plenty of lights in these areas here. You can lighten things up quickly by using a tissue and blotting up any dark areas that you want to lighten up a little bit. Like this. You can lighten up some really key areas of your painting if you think you've gone too dark, but I'm telling you, once these are going to dry lighter. So any darks you do paint in your painting, they're going to dry lighter, don't worry about it. And it's all trial and error, but I think we've had a fun time. These are the peach roses here. Maybe I'm going to add a little bit of shadow over here on this side. I scrub a little bit on my painting like so. In this area here, the top of the vase, it's in shadow. All the leaves, the ferns, the greens, they create a shadow over here. So right away you know it's going to be a little darker under this area here, where all the shadows are. I think we could use another couple of greens up here. Let's try it out. Let's see. I'll go up here, sap green, a little bit of French ultramarine blue, sap green, cadmium lemon yellow. Let's make a Let's take another one here too. Okay, so I added this bit of green leaf forms here. And I lifted up a little bit of paint. I'll get a brand new tissue here, and I'll put a little bit of light on this side over here, like that. Maybe add a little bit of dark over here, like that. And again. There we go. Well, I hope you've had a fun time doing these beautiful peach colored roses. Have fun with it. If you want to add more roses to the painting, even though you have like 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we did it just like we saw in the picture. The only thing is we diminished a little bit of the green, ferns and things like that. Remember, you're the artist. You can change things if you want. You might want to make more roses. Maybe you're going to take these 6 roses and make them 12 and add another, make a dozen of them, and make even less dark greens and less baby breath, and make it more of a really just a absolute dominant peach color painting with not too many greens. I used a lot of greens here, a lot of blues and darks. You can kind of see that here. But you know what? You can change things as you want. So maybe try it this way first, and then maybe you can go in a second time, or maybe you can find some more paintings online that you can work from, some photographs, I should say, online, where you can maybe find more bouquets where there's more peach color roses, or even other color, peach color flowers. If you like peach color, I think peach looks absolutely phenomenal. So we've done our best here with our photograph that we're working from. But always remember, you can take it to the next level, do more, create another painting like this, or 2 or 3, and maybe find some different photographs that have the same style floral arrangement, let's say, with maybe some different, maybe carnations or some other peach color flowers. And you just keep practicing up on them, have fun with it. But we had a lot of fun here, so I'm hoping you can kind of parlay this into more paintings that you might want to do, especially if you love flower paintings. Just go for it, have fun, do a few more paintings like this, with the same idea of just creating, lots of beautiful color with the peach color, the greens, and maybe some cerulean blue for, some of the shadowy colors and things like that. But we had fun here. I'm glad you're, here painting along with me. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks again so much for coming by. Thanks for the great comments in the comment section on my videos. And again, if you haven't subscribed, on the right-hand side below, there's the subscribe button. Please subscribe. It just makes sure that you're going to kind of keep along with us here as we paint every week. You won't lose us. You won't forget about us. You'll kind of be reminded every week as we work together. You'll grab your brushes, your pencils, your paper, your paints, and we'll work together. We'll get better at watercolors consistently using the same methods and techniques that we always use here on my channel. No big surprise, no rocket science here, just the same basic methods and techniques we use all the time to create beautiful watercolor paintings. So we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.